Welcome. This is Pia on ITV Gold, and today we are really excited to have a woman whose story is as inspiring as it's extraordinary. In just 1 year, she went from her very first pageant to being crowned Mrs. Universe USA 2025. She's a TEDx speaker, transformational leader, swim safety advocate who helped pass a Florida law providing free swim lessons for children, and a mom of 3. She's also a walking testament to resilience, losing 160 pounds, surviving a childhood near drowning, and turning her personal challenges into a mission to save lives. And now, she is gearing up to represent the United States at Mrs. Universe in the Philippines. So let's welcome Amber Uhler. Welcome, Amber, to ITV Gold.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. I'm so delighted to be here with you today.
You know, the pleasure is all ours having you here, and especially, you are going to go to Philippines, and this is definitely an exciting moment for you. So tell me, let's start with you went from very first pageant to Mrs. Universe USA in just a year. Looking back, what's the moment that still feels kind of the most unforgettable moment for you?
I think the most unforgettable moment for me was in 2021. For my New Year's resolution, I wrote down that I wanted to compete in a beauty pageant. At that time, I weighed almost 300 pounds, but it was a dream that I held in my heart. And I decided that I was going to do everything possible to try and fulfill my dream. When I wrote down in 2021 that I wanted to compete in a beauty pageant, I meant 2021, but it unfortunately took me until 2024 to actually compete my first pageant, Mrs. Florida. I lost 168 pounds in that 3.5 year time period. And I think the most surreal moment for me was getting on that stage for the first time and just fulfilling my dream of trying. I don't know that my initial goal was ever to get this far. It's taken me on a wild journey. I just knew that I wanted to challenge myself, get out of my comfort zone, and get on that stage in a way in which I felt comfortable. And then, of course, the big magical payoff was that I actually won, much to my surprise.
So I'm sure, I can see when even you are talking, it feels like it definitely was like the magical as well as emotional moment for you. So tell us, what was it running? When you went for this pageant, what was it like running for a pageant?
I had no idea what I was doing. I like to say I must have had beginner's luck, but I did put a lot of time and effort and determination into it. I watched a lot of pageants. I started to become a fan of pageant girls like Priyanka Chopra and Pia and all of these women who went on and did such inspiring things, after they won their title and how they used it for good. And I realized that's what I wanted to be. I didn't want to just go win a crown. I wanted to go and make a difference. And so with the swim safety, the drowning prevention, traveling to Washington, D.C., even getting to be on the House floor and do all of these incredible things has all happened because I had this opportunity through pageantry, and I wanted to use the crown as a microphone for a catalyst for change rather than vanity for myself.
You have always been talking about your weight loss journey, and I have heard you in your interviews also talking about it, and today also you talked a little bit about it. Tell me, this definitely is an incredible and motivational journey you had. So I want to know that what was that spark that made you decide to start such a big transformation?
Well, I think sometimes the biggest triumphs are born out of hardships. And what happened to me was I went with my family to a local trampoline park where everybody was laughing and jumping and having cake and ice cream for a kid's birthday party, and I decided to do a cannonball into a foam pit that I had no way to climb out of. I was 300 pounds. I didn't register to me that I wouldn't have the strength to pull myself out. the harder I flailed and the more I panicked, the further I sank. My husband jumped in to rescue me, and he couldn't get me out on my own. So then soon two other men had to link arms and form a human chain to try and pull me out. And they struggled so hard that I thought they were going to give up and the fire department was going to have to be called. And I was so humiliated. I was not only drowning in the foam pit, but I was drowning in deep shame. And I thought, how did I let my health get this out of hand? And it was not only the moment that was probably one of the most embarrassing and hardest in my life, but it was also the moment that lit the fire in me that I was like, we have to make a change.
And Amber, let's talk about that tough childhood moment, which like you made it like into a mission, and it's truly inspiring. Like you survived a near drowning as a kid. So how did that experience inspire your work in swim safety?
When I was 5 years old, my parents, we were going on a fishing trip, and as my dad was getting the tackle box and things out of the car, instead of, waiting, I was excited. I wanted to go see the lake. I got away from him and ran over the hill, and he couldn't see me anymore. And I ran down the pier, and I didn't intend to. I was just excited and wanted to see, and I tripped and fell into the lake, and I could not swim whatsoever. I'm so blessed that my brother, who's 6 years older than me, crested the hill right as he saw me fall in. It was a good 150 yards away, and he ran down, and I don't know how he found me or located me, but he was able to pull me out. I survived, and that trauma stuck with me forever because it's the first memory of my childhood where I remember it being like a movie instead of just like, oh, that happened. I can still see it in my head, and I still feel myself, trying so hard to reach the surface, but sinking lower and lower. And I remember my last thought was, my dad's gonna be so mad. And it just was so fast, and I felt so helpless. And it became, very important for me and my family, to learn how to swim after that close encounter. But then in 2022, it was reignited within me when I was at a child's birthday party, and one of the children began to drown. I dove in and I pulled them out, and they were limp, and it was horrible. And I thought, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. I didn't know CPR, and neither did anybody else that was there at that time. And I laid him down, and I just laid his arm over his head because I saw that on Baywatch. And luckily he revived, and he started, throwing up white foam, and it had happened so fast. We were all standing there, and I realized this is such an epidemic, and the worst part of all of it is that it's completely preventable. So I'm from Florida. I was originally, I was Mrs. Florida. Now I'm Mrs. USA. The number one cause of death for children 4 and under in the United States is drowning, above birth defects, above car accidents, above cancer, above any other thing that, would cost a child their life, is drowning. And it's preventable through layers of protection, through having an adult who's supervising, and then just teaching the child how to swim. I like to say that every child's first sport should be swimming because it's the only sport that can save your life. So, we put kids in t-ball and dance and all of these other things, but we really need to prioritize swimming. Another thing is, I like to, when I go around and speak about swim safety and drowning prevention, I like to ask the adults, how many of you can swim? And, about half the room raises their hand. And I say, how many of you can't? And about half the room raises their hand. And so another issue with swim safety and drowning prevention is that it's a skill that is passed on from generation to generation. So if your grandmother can't swim and your mother can't swim, well, who's going to teach you? And so that's why it's so important to me, not only with my own non-fatal drowning experience, and then the one where I was helping rescue a child, which he also survived. He was revived. And I meet families every single week where that wasn't the case. And so I feel so blessed that I was not a statistic. And I'm always taken aback by every time I tell anyone what my platform is, swim safety and drowning prevention, they always say, my neighbor's child died in an accident. My cousin died. My grandma didn't know how to swim, and she had a drowning incident. And so it touches so many lives, and it's something that we're not talking about enough, and it's not top of mind enough. And so that's why I love to come out and just bring it up and tell people, like, just go get lessons. Just get lessons. You're 89% less likely to drown if you learn how to swim. And when I say learn how to swim, I don't mean like Michael Phelps, an Olympic gold swimmer. Like just learning how to float and doggy paddle a little bit.
And you know, Amber, you're so right. I think swimming is very, very important, especially, you know, all our activities here, sports activities are water based. So if you want to even enjoy outside, you need to know how to swim. And even these days, you know, especially with the hurricanes, with the storms, there are so many times, you know, a lot of flooding happens, a lot of cars get drowned. You know, there have been a lot of cases where people don't know how to swim and the car is drowning and the person is drowning too. You know, things have happened, and so I feel it's very, very important to know, at least have that kind of, you know, swimming as skill. And I know in Florida you made the law pass too, that, you know, free swim lessons for, I guess, the kids. But tell me, like, how did that moment feel for you personally?
It was actually a really big surprise. So it's called SB 544, and it's free swim lessons for children 4 and under in Florida, as long as they meet a certain income threshold or below. And it's so impactful because there is a huge disparity in the ability to swim with demographics. So lower income communities and families are less likely to have access to swim lessons. They don't build swimming pools in those communities, and so those people are at a huge disadvantage. So this bill was specifically aimed towards them. I'm especially proud of it. It was surprisingly passed actually before I became Mrs. Florida. I was hoping that it would get passed, you know, before I became Mrs. USA, but it was passed quickly, and I would love to see something like this passed nationwide. I don't think that financial income should ever be a barrier to learning a life-saving skill. And so this is something that we need to pass and we need to prioritize. And, you know, families sometimes are struggling just to get by, and these swim lessons can cost hundreds and hundreds of dollars, and it's a really huge barrier.
Okay, all right. Moving on from swimming, let's now talk about, you know, pageants, which I feel it comes with a lot of misconceptions people have about, you know, this pageant thing. So tell me, what's that one thing you wish people really understood about being a pageant?
I think one thing I would love people to know that I don't think they realize is beauty pageants have really changed. I do believe that it used to just be that whoever was the most aesthetically pleasing or beautiful to that panel of judges won. And I don't think that that's the case anymore. You're seeing such a diverse group of winners now. You're seeing women who are doctors and lawyers and CEOs and who have life-changing missions and who have different body types winning. And there has really been a societal shift from beauty to inner beauty, like somebody who is able to communicate and who has a passion and who can talk to the media and has a great interview and can do onstage question and can handle difficult questions and can be a great ambassador is who they are looking for now more than aesthetically pleasing. So I think that the game is changing, and I think that it's right on time.
So, you know, talking about like challenges, talking about questions, is there any like particular question, you know, during the competition that's really stuck with you?
I've had a lot of fun questions. I had a judge say, tell me a joke. And so I made up a pageant joke. There's sometimes questions that are political or they're aimed to stump you. And I think a lot of times the judges don't actually care specifically the details of your answer. They want to see, you under the pressure, how you are convicted about whatever your answer is, and that you don't let it shake you. So sometimes I like it when they try and give you a curveball question, because it's a perfect opportunity to show not only what that you can think on your feet, but that you can be determined and have grit and resilience and not let it affect you.
And those are the moments that really teach a person a lot. So tell me, now you're preparing for Mrs. Universe in Philippines. What is your biggest focus right now?
My biggest focus right now is just being my best self and working on my national costume and having a costume that I can be proud of. I love that at Mrs. Universe, the costume round is judged. At a lot of pageants, it's just more of an auxiliary fun thing, but at Mrs. Universe, it's specifically judged, and it's judged on things like the representation of your country. And so I'm really excited. It's a big opportunity for me. I mean, whenever do you get a chance to do something that shows the pride of your country on an international stage? How lucky am I to get to do this? So I'm probably having the most fun with that, but I'm also preparing my interview, preparing my video, and making sure that I have all the little details so that everything goes as well as it possibly can.
Absolutely. So talking about your gown, have you already visioned how your gown is going to be and stuff like that?
I got the picture of it today of
Oh
what
my God.
it's finished. I designed it myself, and it came out exactly like what I drew, and I cannot wait for you all to see it. I think that it's different and it's unique, and I think that it represents me and the United States in a very elegant and understated way, and I'm so excited and proud. And it came out, you draw it and you hope you sketch it, hope it comes out how you sketch, but it came out so much better, so I'm just really thrilled.
I can imagine your excitement, especially if it has come out the way you wanted it. So tell me, the difference between getting ready for an international pageant compared to a national one.
Well, I don't know, because this is my first international pageant, and I think it's going to be the same. I think one thing I'm working on this time that I want to really do a good job at is just being authentic, being true to myself, enjoying the moment, and meeting the other women. How lucky am I that I'm going to meet 120 friends from other countries from all over the world? When can you say that? I know that when I went to Mrs. USA, I met friends from all the other 50 states, and now it's so fun. I went to Utah, I went to Texas, I went to New York, and I'm able to call the local queen, the state queen, and say, do you want to go to dinner? And they go. And so now I have a friend in all 50 states. So now I can say I'm going to have a friend in over 120 countries. And so I'm really excited about just meeting people from all over the world. And I think it's such a special experience and opportunity. And it's going to be the only time in my life that I ever get to do this.
I'm really happy the way you are chilled about it. I have seen and interviewed a lot of people, and they're kind of nervous, oh, we will be participating in this, doing that. But tell me, do you have a special cause or platform you are hoping to highlight on the Mrs. Universe stage?
Yeah, I don't believe in being nervous. I just believe in being yourself, and I think that makes it so much better. I think if you just run your own race and you just focus on yourself and don't let things stress you out, you're going to have such a good time. And pageantry, just like anything in life, is what you make of it. If you go into it saying, I'm going to have a good idea, I'm going to have a good time, even if we get a flat tire, I'm going to keep a positive attitude, then you're going to have a great time. The causes I'm super excited to promote are the National Drowning Prevention Alliance, Smile Like Aubrey, Live Like Jake, Every Child a Swimmer. I'm really passionate about swim safety and drowning prevention, but I do have a whole host of other galas and events and charities that I'm on the board of where like redefining refuge, which is a human trafficking safe house we have here in Florida that rescues kids that are victims of human trafficking, and I'm on their gala board, and I'm doing that the night before I leave for Mrs. Universe. So that's going to be like my crowning achievement. We're going to have our gala to help raise funds to support that cause, and then on a plane to Manila. So I'm just excited to definitely bring awareness to swim safety and drowning prevention, because in some countries, I was looking at up to 90% of the population doesn't know how to swim in some countries. And so I've been going around and looking at tips and facts, and so that when I meet somebody from a certain country, I can say, do you know in your country, your country knows how to swim, 90% more than any of these other countries. And I'm going to ask them about swim safety and drowning prevention and make it top of mind for them as well, and have, all of this wonderful time to meet with this women, and then hear about their causes that they're interested in too, so that I can bring those back here. I really feel like it's going to be a meeting of the minds and the hearts, and then we can take that back to our countries and then enrich our countries with all of this new knowledge that we've learned from people all over the world.
Amber, I just want to know the secret sauce of you being so chilled about things, especially like physically and mentally. You're getting ready for such a huge event.
I think the secret is to not look at anyone else. I don't worry about anybody else. I don't look at what they're doing. I don't compare myself. I believe that comparison is the thief of joy. And that was something that really affected me when I was heavy. When I was heavy, I had social media, but I didn't post on it. I just looked at everybody with their perfectly curated lives, who looked like they ate McDonald's every day, but they were a size 0 and never worked out, but had muscles, and I felt sorry for myself. And one of the things that I realized was that, I was doing it to myself. I was comparing myself to people who were showing me their highlight reel. So here I am, I'm morbidly obese, and I'm comparing the worst moments of my life, which, are intimately known to me, with the best moments of their life that they're putting on the internet. And I realized it was making me sad, and it was making me depressed, and it was making me unhappy. And so now with my social media, I get on there, I post, I engage, but I just try to run my own race. I don't want to, compare myself with anyone else, because I just really feel like comparison's the thief of joy. And I feel like if you can get to a place in your life where you can be just really happy with yourself, you don't want to compare anymore.
Thank you so much, Amber. It was lovely talking to you, and wishing you all the best.
Thank you so much. I would love to come back as Mrs. Universe.
Absolutely. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.